Good morning, this is Angela with Parkrose Permaculture and also Apollo and Athena. It's a beautiful sunny morning here in May. I'm standing in my side yard looking out onto my driveway, as you can see, or the half of the driveway that still remains. Hoping my dogs won't bark here. They're very wound up and the neighbor dogs are all out and busy, so apologize if there's barking. Yesterday I did a video on blueberries and I promised an update on Marion berries, which grow across the path from about half of the blueberries that I own. So I'm going to, watch out baby, I'm going to walk up here. These are my Amity red raspberries, which are not quite yet producing. They are starting to produce buds, but not yet blooming. They bloom a little bit later than Marion berries. And then as we move along, hello poodles, as we move along you can see the Marion berries here are all in flower. So in Oregon, blackberries and their relatives are one of the primary sources for food for honeybees and bumblebees. And actually for honeybees, you typically think of bee colonies swarming and also then restocking their honey reserves in coordination with the blooming of the blackberries. Here that mostly includes the invasive Himalayan blackberry, but it also includes cultivated and native blackberries, of which there are many kinds. So the Marion berry, I did a video on it a while ago and I've sort of adapted how I'm growing them since that video. Marion berry is a hybrid berry originated here in Oregon, a hybrid between the Olali berry and the Chehalem blackberry. So it has parentage that is the Himalayan blackberry and also the European blackberries. So one of the things I really enjoy about the Marion berry is that it is thornless. When folks talk to me about how they have incredibly thorny Marion berries in their yard and they're not sure what to do, those are the seedlings of, sorry, Apollo, that's enough, come here. Those are the seedlings of the thornless parents, which often are incredibly thorny. Or you have something that is not a Marion berry. A true Marion berry should be thornless. So here you can see this is one Marion berry plant. That is enough for us. The main reason is because the berries of a Marion berry are ready earlier than any of my thornless blackberries, but I don't like them as much as my thornless blackberries. My favorite blackberry is the Triple Crown, which is very sweet and large and a reliable producer. The Marion berry is more sour, so it produces earlier and the berries are big. I like them in smoothies. They have a lot of pulp for the amount of seed, but they're definitely not as sweet. So I like them in smoothies or for baking, but not as much to just eat a bowl of them. Folks are often surprised at how tart or ripe Marion berry is. So here as we move along, you can see the flowers all bloom within a relatively short period of time. Ooh, we're gonna see if we can see this bumblebee here. She's already out. This is pretty early in the morning. She's already out visiting. So I used to train my Marion berries along this fence, my one Marion berry plant. And I'm getting away from that because it meant that I couldn't grow anything else along this fence except that I grew strawberries on the ground. And I really wanted to grow some more things. So let me slowly turn here. I'm sorry for my dogs. Hey, Apollo, come. They get very excited by people walking in the morning. So this is my kitchen window and I want to be able to stand and wash dishes because we don't have a dishwasher. I want to be able to stand and look outside and enjoy the flowers and enjoy the aroma of things growing in the garden. So this wasn't a very pretty view for much of the year. Right now it's lovely because the Marion berries are in bloom, but it wasn't that exciting. So, and also it was a lot of space taken up by one plant. So Apollo, come, hey, come here. You guys want a treat? Go get your treat. It was taken up by this one plant and then some underplanted strawberries. And I figure it would be much better to diversify. This was a piece of yard art one of my neighbors had put by the curb. They were getting rid of for free. I'm always grateful for free scrounged things. So I loved this piece of metal work of children dancing. Behind it, I have a calycanthus which is called Carolina Allspice or Carolina Spice Bush. It's got some other names. It has beautiful flowers, and it will get very large. And then I have a mock orange, which is a native, which will also get very large, has beautiful, fragrant white flowers. And then underneath is planted with medicinals and roses and geraniums that are all just very, very small because I just rooted all the cuttings. So I tend to stick a stick in the ground where I have small rooted cuttings so I remember where they are and don't accidentally weed them or damage them. So I've shifted my Marion Barry over, and it is growing up and through this goumi berry. Goumi berry is Elaeagnus multiflora. So in permaculture, we talk about stacking functions, which is not like a super romantic term. Stacking functions is a primary concept in permaculture. You can see my poodles. Where everything in your garden needs to have more than one job, if possible. You increase yields, and you can fit more into a small space, and you can decrease your workload. If everything does more than one job, if everything is a workhorse that can do many tasks. So this goumi berry, you can see here, if I can get my old phone to focus here. I'm very excited. I'm getting a new phone, so starting next week, I'll no longer be filming on my iPhone 5. I'll have something a little bit better. So you can see here they have blooms that the bees really like. The fruit is a pretty tasty fruit. Okay, excuse me. I'm gonna no, he stopped. Apollo, my boy poodle likes to eat the flowers off my blueberries, so I'm just gonna really quickly, hey, stop. That's a good boy. Okay. I'm not sure why he likes the flowers and the nectar. He eats them off. Okay. So the goumi berry, good bee plant, produces edible fruit, the seeds of which are also edible. They taste like sunflower seeds a little bit. They're about the size of a sunflower seed. So here you can see the baby fruit getting ready to be set. It will be smaller than a cherry, but red when ripe. If you eat them underripe, they're very astringent, but ripe, they're quite good. The main reason people grow goumi berries is that they're nitrogen fixers. So here I have this plant serving as a nitrogen fixer for the berries around it. It is a screen from my neighbors. It's a plant that looks good, has delicate little yellow flowers, feeds bees, honeybees, and also feeds bumblebees and other native bees. Some of the really small, like emerald bees, are frequently feeding on this plant. And now I have decided to use it as a trellis. So it serves all these jobs in the garden. We have a small garden relatively. I know a 1/4 acre is big for Portland, but in terms of like a garden, it's not that big. So this way I can squeeze more things into a small space if everything does more than one job. It's just like in my kitchen. I don't want to have a tool in my kitchen that just does one thing that, like I sort of use it a couple times a year. I want it to be a workhorse and do lots of jobs and be something that I get a lot of benefit from for the amount of space it takes up and the cost of investing in the plant. So that's what this goumi berry is doing for me here. It is performing the permaculture job of stacking functions. And I really enjoy the look because as the goumi berry is finishing blooming, the Marion Barry is starting to bloom. And it also provides sort of a lush, bushy look to the Marion Barry, so it has some aesthetic value. Because Marion Barry canes are really flexible, I find that it's not difficult to prune it this way. And because Marion berries are thornless, if I had a very thorny blackberry, I would not be bothering training it through a bush and then have to unwind it in the fall and prune it. It's because it's thornless. So that's a little look here at what my Marion berries are doing, how I'm adapting permaculture concepts to a small garden, how I'm making plants work for me on many different layers, getting more bang for my buck and more bang for my space. I am going to go back in the house and have another cup of coffee. Please like this video if you enjoyed it. If you got something out of it, please feel free to subscribe to my channel and leave me questions or topics you'd like me to cover, and I'm happy to try and include them in upcoming videos. Thank you.